Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Saturday, November the 25th, 2023. In today's detailed U.S. weather forecast, we're going to break down the details on an upcoming negative NAO that's going to trigger some lake effect snow over the Great Lakes, and some of that could be quite significant. But we're also going to talk about some big changes in the weather pattern with much colder temperatures recoming or redeveloping across much of the Midwest and the Deep South, with warmer temperatures eventually for the eastern or for the western half of the U.S. So as you all can see from yesterday's community post, I took a trip to Kirby Cove in San Francisco, California, where the weather was absolutely beautiful. No clouds, no haze, no fog. I even got some of the best sunset footage from my drone right over in the middle of the San Francisco Bay with the Golden Gate Bridge that I was able to view. I mean, I'll tell you what, it was absolutely beautiful. So once I get done editing that video out, it will be available for members only on this YouTube channel. So if you're a member already, you'll be able to see it. But otherwise, I would highly recommend becoming a member today so you all are able to view that once it is released. So without further ado, let's get talking about this crazy weather pattern that is expected to develop in the next 7 days, especially for the eastern half of the U.S. because of that negative NAO that is getting ready to set up shop along the eastern seaboard. This is going to trigger some serious cold temperatures. Not only that, it is even cold around my neck of the woods. Overnight lows tonight could even be in the mid-20s for Central Valley standards. That is well below average for late November. So by tomorrow morning, you can see for November the 26th, we do have this snowstorm that is going to be ripping across the Midwest. You got some of the light blues on your screen, an indication that there is going to be some snow falling across Iowa as well as northern Illinois into Missouri as well as portions there of Wisconsin. But take note too, this is going to be a moisture starved system, not a whole lot of snow, maybe 1 to 3 inches at most. But look at this, it gets into the Great Lakes, and with this colder air mass coming in out of the north, you're going to get a lot of lake effect snow. Yes, and you're also going to get quite a bit of snow potentially over Maine, part of that surface low that tries to develop. So in some way, this is going to be our first nor'easter of the late fall, early winter season. There's a colder air coming on in, going to really trigger that lake effect snow. Look at that. That is very apparent here over Lake Michigan, Lake Ontario. If you're on Lake Huron, if you are on Lake Erie, yeah, you can get some pretty intense snowfall totals out of this. In fact, when we do take a look at those snowfall totals over some of the snowfall prone areas because of the lake effect, yeah, you might pick up maybe as much as 6 to 12 inches. Yeah, maybe some isolated areas, maybe 1.5 feet of snowfall. Whereas if you are in Buffalo, maybe 6 to 8 inches of snowfall. But here's some of the snowfall that some of the models are picking up. Part of that weather system as it kind of clips on by and brings a lot of snow. You might get as much as 3 to 12 inches of snowfall accumulation there for northern and northwestern Maine. That system moves on out by the time we go into early next week, but there's another system out there in the next 5 days as it develops over Texas. This one is going to be our next major system as it brings a lot of rainfall, some gusty winds, and you can see it here really developing by Friday morning, December the 1st. Yes, can you believe it? It's already December the 1st, and it's going to be like December out there for some locations as this surface low really moves in. You can see it, some of the blue on your screen, getting some snow that's going to fall. And that system kind of falls apart, but there's more activity across the Pacific Northwest that could be never ending. In fact, if we go over to the next few days for December the 2nd and the 3rd, it's just system after system after system in that area, while the Northeast gets brushed with yet another minor to moderate snowstorm as that surface low tries to develop. It's going to be quite the cold night for some locations, while other areas are going to actually enjoy some nice daytime highs for the Deep South. Here's a look at the temperature forecast on the GFS model for this afternoon, and you can see where it's cold and where it's not. And where it's cold right now is in the higher elevations here of the Rockies. Some areas barely getting out of the single digits today. Yeah, that's cold. And look at overnight. It's going to only get colder as the sun goes down. Some higher elevations, some valley spots could have temperatures as cold as -5 degrees. Some lower elevation areas like Kansas and, say, Oklahoma, northern Texas, that cooler air moving in, you're going to have overnight lows tonight, potentially in the upper teens to lower 20s. Not to even mention, it's not shown here on the GFS because the GFS really doesn't simulate the temperatures very well, at least based on my research. And most of the high-res models are indicating that temperatures will be in the low or in the mid to upper 20s in the Central Valley. Some of the coldest spots could even see temperatures lower than that, and that's why there's freeze warnings issued for our area. Not to mention there is a winter storm warning here too for portions of the Midwest, part of that snowstorm. That continues with these cooler temperatures, and yes, we're getting into that time of the year that winter is getting closer and closer. So daytime highs not going to really warm up very much from the temperatures in the 20s at night in the Dakotas. Temperatures in the Northeast going to be awfully cool, and this continues. The only warming you get is if you go further south, like Florida. You're going to see temperatures in the 80s through the middle and the end of next week. So ringing in December be a very cold one, or very warm one, excuse me here, Mr. David. And then going all the way out into Sunday morning, December the 3rd, maybe some cooler air finally getting in here, but not much, very limited in terms of where the cooler air is going to be in place. Your temperature anomalies are pretty much straightforward. Here comes that cooler air again over the next 2 or 3 days. You can see some of the blues and purples on your screen, and that continues all the way into Wednesday, November the 29th, and then temperatures do recover a little bit. We're not talking these blowouts of Arctic air, like temperatures 30 or 40 degrees below average, right? We're not seeing that. We're going to see temperatures at least 5 to 10 degrees below normal, depending on where you're at, and the if you're in a wind-prone area or if you're prone to warmer air advection like this, you're going to get warmer temperatures. And you can see the temperature anomalies here for the 1st of December are going to be quite warm, actually, for this time of the year across the Southeast. That's going to be short-lived because you're going to get another piece of cooler air just a little bit before it warms up again. And really not talking in the way of serious outbreaks of cold air for the time being. And the reason why that is because how our jet stream is behaving. And if we go and take this forward through the next 36 hours, we can see there is our trough, our cooler air that's in place. A little bit of a split flow here. We got a ridge here. We got a trough here. Some undercutting in the west. This continues all the way into the next 3 days, and so this is when your cooler air is going to be in place because of this negative NAO. We got lower heights in the east, higher heights than normal in the west, and that's going to set up ridge versus trough. Which one's going to win out? And it looks like the trough is not going to win out, and we get lower heights then eventually back across the west. Not significantly lower than average, but it's going to keep temperatures from getting, well, like say in the upper 60s or low 70s like we could see in late November. Instead, we're going to have temperatures in the mid to upper 50s across our area. And then beyond that, who knows what goes on. The GFS has proven pretty wild with its outcome. I mean, if we look at past runs, we were looking at a big trough and not. So this is the time of the year that the pattern is really fluid, and we yet have to figure out what exactly is going to happen. Looking at the National Weather Service here really quickly, you can see winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings because you're going to be expecting to see maybe as much as 3 to 8 inches of snowfall in the winter storm warning area. We got winter storm watches here for the Great Lakes because of the lake effect snow that we talked about. And then, of course, if you're back west, make sure you bring in your plants, your pets, and any livestock that you have. Protect those pipes because, yeah, we're going to be seeing some very cold temperatures at night over California, like the Central Valley. If you're along Fort Bragg, the coast, like Crescent City up there, it can be really cold, as well as even the Great Basin. There's a hard freeze warning issued with temperatures that could be as low as 25 degrees or lower at night for several hours, and that really is going to put a lot of strain on the plants, the pets. So make sure you do take precautions at protecting livestock because those temperatures are going to be awfully cold at night. Well, that sums it up for today's detailed U.S. weather forecast. If you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. If you're new to the channel, I promise I will have a video out at least every day this week. It doesn't look like there's anything getting in the way of my plans. I don't see any more trips coming up or any family visits at all that would keep me away from uploading. So fingers crossed that I will have a video out at least every day. The next couple of days could be a little tricky, but I will try to do something. But after that, it looks like I will have one out at least every day of the week. So make sure you do turn on those notifications. Make sure you also check out my Sacramento weather forecast Facebook page. That's where I do my local updates as well. So if you haven't found it yet, I would consider following me there where you can get latest updates. It's been like forever since I last updated this. I'm going to have to do one today though, for sure. So you all can see that if you do follow me there. Link in the description below this video. But anyways, I'll catch you in the next one.